This podcast has mature language, not intended for underage viewers. What's going on, people? This is Keenan Cage of Street Cred Sports Training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. I hope everybody's doing all right. It's been a week. Finally got the podcast going again, and I'm feeling good. The feedback from the first podcast was extremely positive. So we're going to continue to do this. All right. Hope everybody is, enjoying themselves. Going to try to switch things up a little bit. So here's one thing that I want to bring to y'all attention. It's things that's on my mind. I guess that's what I put it. First thing I want to talk to y'all about is I went to the movies this weekend. I went to see Black Adam. Now, I'm not going to spoil the movie. That's not what I do. I don't want to say something and then, somebody get mad at me because I didn't get to see the movie and you fucking told the whole story and now I'm mad because I know what's going to happen. No, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is talk about movie etiquette. That's the SAT word for the day, etiquette. All right. So we're watching the movie. It wasn't like a full house, but it was probably, majority full. Enjoying the movie. And there were parents with kids, young kids, babies, crying, walking around, talking, asking questions. Now, look, when it's a Disney movie, I'm all for that because in a Disney movie, you're expected to have kids. But look, when you're charging a lot of money just for the experience of seeing a nice movie, big sound, all of that stuff, kind of don't want to be listening to kids. Now, as a parent, when we took our kids to the movie when they were little, we made sure that we weren't doing those things. We weren't those people that were getting, a bad experience for the other parents and other people watching the movie. So I don't know how many of y'all do this, take y'all kids to the movie, but you really want to be considerate to others when they're watching movies because it becomes stressful. When I go to the movies, it's to relax. I'm always trying to put myself in the movie as if I'm actually there. So I'm really wanting to enjoy it. And I had to actually just tune, the screaming and yelling and stuff out. And it's weird because I've went to the movies before, and if I've seen people that, had their kids, and if their kids started to cry, if they started to talk, those parents would get up, take those kids out, settle them down, and then bring them back in the movie. Now, these parents weren't doing that. They just sat there and watched the movie as if they were at home. And to me, you got to be considerate of others. So for those of you out there who go to the movies, if you have your kids, try to be considerate of others because we're trying to enjoy it. And then it's like, well, should I go over there and go talk to them? Well, if you go and talk to them, then that's going to start something else because no matter how polite you are, they're going to be defensive. And if they're defensive and their response is a little bit, not in line with what I would be wanting, now we're going to have another situation. So I just kind of let it go, spoke to the manager. I didn't speak to the manager, but my wife mentioned it to the manager, and they just kind of gave us a bullshit answer, So we won't be going to that movie theater in the future. Because there's a lot of different movie theaters now. Plus, you don't always have to go to the movies. You can watch a lot of stuff now on whatever network it is they streaming them. So a lot of choices out there. So rather than she put the concern in. We weren't looking for anything free, but like, yo, you know what? You need to address that shit. Nah, they didn't feel like that. So needless to say, the movie was good. And I will tell y'all again, you have to stay for the end credits. All right. It's usually like mid credits. Some movies that have so many, like Marvel, they do that shit where you getting ready to get up and it's, there's another scene. You have to sit back down. Right. And then they start rolling credits. You're like, okay, that's it. So now you get up, you start walking out. Ooh, here's another scene. Damn. Hold on. You got to run back to your seat. It's just a little, it's just a little annoying, but at the same time, you want to make sure you get everything because the first time I saw, I think it was a Marvel movie, I left, right? You know, I wasn't into the waiting to the end of the credits. And then I get around friends and they like, yo, did you see the minute? And I was like, what you talking about? And they're like, no, it was this had happening and they showed this and this how it's going to tie in. And I was like, fuck, I missed it. So now I stay until they come in and start throwing the trash in. The lights are up, you know, the sound is down. There's nothing on the screen. And that's when I say, okay, I guess I can leave now because I don't want to miss anything. So that's pretty much, you know, the movie experience. Now, I want to talk a little bit about being a fan of a team. Some people call it fandom. Some people call it being a fanatic. Here's what I'll say. People who are fans, I know it's hard. It's harder being fans of a team. The example I'm going to give you is my lovely wife, April, because she's a fan of the New Orleans Saints. And being a fan of the Saints is really hard because they've went through a lot. So I'm going to give you a quick example. This was a text message between her and I. First game of the season, I think they were playing the Falcons. She's at home watching the game. I'm at work doing training. During a break, I text her. I say, hey, how's it going? I'm just having fun with you because, you know, obviously I was seeing what the score was. And then she said, it's all good. And she says, the fact that we caused a fumble is awesome. Sad that they missed the field goal. I send her a smiley face, you know, letting her know it's going to be okay. Now she sends me another text message that says, I'm trying to keep in mind that this is only the first game, but this team stresses me out with a whole bunch of mean faces. I say, yeah, it's the first game. Then she turns around and messages me that the O-line is garbage. And then I say, look, nobody looks good today. After that, she sends me crying emojis. Horrible. Now, she's sending me this because the Falcons were tapping that ass, right? They were really giving it to the Saints at that point. And I didn't really want to, you know, mess with it because she's a fan and she gets really, really consumed by it. So then she tells me she's so mad right now. Okay. Now, I'm doing training. Then before I get another break, here's the next text message I get from her saying, Michael Thomas is back, right? Really capitalized letters. Now she's happy because they're scoring and they're coming back. Atlanta loses. Well, actually, the Saints turn around, come back and win, kick a field goal at the end. And then I get the who dat from her, which is, you know, what the Saints say. So that's just the first game. The highs and lows that fans go through when they're watching games, it's amazing. Now I'll take it a step farther. I can't remember off the top of my head what year it was, but when the Saints played the Vikings, they played the Vikings in the playoffs. I believe it was the year the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Vikings are down. Saints score late. It's like maybe 30 seconds left in the game or something. They're kicking it off. Vikings have the ball. They need to get up the field to try to kick a field goal to win, I think. But, you know, they didn't have any timeout. So this perfect situation for the Saints. I look at it and I say, baby, this game is over, right? So then their safety for the Saints, I can't think of his name, makes a weird dart on an out pass, right? Because in football, at the end of the game, clock's running. If you don't get out of bounds, clock still runs. So defense usually tries to guard the sidelines. They make you throw the ball over the middle, you know, so once they catch it, you can tackle them, you know, time still running. They're not going to have time enough to get. Well, he makes a weird, you know, dart towards the receiver. I believe it was Diggs. mistimes his run. Instead of trying to just wrap him up, letting him catch it, he gets away and runs for a touchdown. Everybody's in shock. She's like, no, no. She's, yelling, screaming. Then she turns around and looks at me and says, it's your fucking fault. And I said, huh? She said, it's because you said it was over. You jinxed us. It's your fault. It's your fault. And I'm like, no, it ain't my fault. Your damn cornerback or your safety, I don't know what he was thinking. That's whose fault it was, really. Y'all put the situation, but okay, so I own that. That's the end of the season. The first game of the new season. Now I'm saying I'm not watching no games with her because I don't want her to blame me. Lo and behold, they play the Tampa Bay Bucks and they lose. Well, guess whose fault it was this time? It was your fault that we lost because you weren't here watching the game with me. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. If last year you blamed me because I was there, now you blame me because I'm not there. So it's a hard thing being a fan. Now me personally, I'm not a fan of any team. There are teams that I follow. I'll say, hey, I kind of dig this team, but I really like watching matchups. That's what really drives me when I'm watching football as well as basketball. So yeah, I feel their pain, because they're always, highs and lows. There's only going to be one team that wins it all. Everybody else is going to be disappointed. So I get it that you follow a team, but you got to keep it in perspective. I mean, hell, they say there's actually research that the Dallas Cowboys fan base, the rate of domestic violence goes up when they lose. That's what I heard. That's something that I heard. I don't really buy to that or believe it, but somebody told me that. Like, yeah, they and think about it is there is a lot of substance to it. And here's why I say that. Back when the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, my old man gave me this little picture, and this little picture had Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl rings. Well, they were handcuffs. And this was because back in that time, a lot of the players were having incidents with the law, right? Some had gotten arrested and everything. So it was just kind of a joke. So I taped it on the inside of my window of my car, just kind of being funny, just hanging out. Went over a friend's house. Oh, and my friend's house was actually a really good neighborhood, right? Go in there, hang out. I think I was in there about 10, 15 minutes. I come back out. They egged my fucking car. Somebody egged the car. And I'm looking around like, yo, somebody egged my car? Now I'm pissed, like, coward, bring your ass on out here so I can, talk to you about it. And then I looked at the sign and said, oh shit, they was mad about the sign. And I started laughing and I was like, wow, that's when you know that there's a problem with fans. So, yeah, that's just my little 2 cents on fandom, as I call it, being a fan, being fanatic. Cheer for your team, root against the other ones. Yo, man, y'all got to stop with all that extracurricular stuff because people can get hurt. Now, next part I want to mention, things on my mind, is first week of the NBA season. It's in high gear already. The one thing I will tell you is that it is a lot more competitive than what I even thought. I mean, teams that you're thinking may be middle of the road, they're already good. Portland, they look good. I mean, now obviously they could, after you're talking 82 seasons, so you don't get a lot out of the first 3 or 4 games that they play in the first week. But it does tell you that their mindset is to be, is to play hard. So the fact that you have ultra competitive games, you have teams that, you're expecting to win, like Brooklyn Nets played Memphis last night, and Memphis gave it to them. But funny thing is, a few nights earlier, Memphis played the Mavericks, and the Mavericks gave it to them. So it's one of those things where every night you're going to have to bring your game, which I love because that's kind of how it should be every night. You shouldn't be taking nights off. I remember back when I used to watch the games and me and friends would talk about it. It was like, if you were a point guard, there were no days off because hell, you got to go over here and play Memphis and you got to play Mike Conley, who's, brilliant with his left-handed running the pick and roll, high IQ, right? Okay. Now you got to go over here to, play the Clippers. There's Chris Paul. And you got to deal with Chris Paul. Okay. Your next game, now you're going up to play Portland. Now you got to deal with Damian Lillard. I'm sorry. It's my lingo. All right. Well, now you finishing that road trip. Oh, yeah, by the way, you got to go to Golden State. Chase Steph around. So there were times where it was so competitive you couldn't have a night off. You had to bring your A game every time you stepped the floor, which is what you should be. You should never be trying to bring your B, C, or D game. Things happen. You get sick. You're not feeling well. Things can go. But you should be always trying to bring your A game. So that's kind of how it should be in the NBA, and that's what we're seeing early on. So enjoy the season. Okay, keep watching it. Oh yeah, by the way, with baseball, if you're a Yankees fan, I kind of feel bad for you. They got swept. Houston is legit. They look like they're gonna win one, and if they win it, they're probably going to rub it in everybody's face because of the few years back when they won and everybody said they cheated. So expect that to come out, right? Okay, so now I'm going to get into my topics for the day with basketball training. I'm calling it my basketball training ideology. So one of the things that we tend to work on, and we work on anything. We're not just an organization that's just about, dribbling, and shooting, because there are all types of things that a kid needs to know. So one of the things that I've touched on over this week, as a lot of the high schoolers are getting ready to start the season, some are trying out, some are already on the team. One thing that one of my kids were asking me about was defense. Now, this kid's going to be, I think, a freshman. Yeah, it's going to be a freshman. Hadn't really played ball before. So, I've been tasked with trying to teach him, basic fundamentals and stuff. That part is easier, teaching them how to dribble, crossover, teaching them layups, footwork on jump shots, passing. But then when you have to start to go to defense, you have to cover quite a few things. Okay. So the first thing I cover when I'm getting into defense is the difference between playing zone defense and playing man-to-man defense. Now, there is a difference. So what I explained to him is, in a man-to-man defense, you're guarding that player. Wherever that player goes, you go. If that player goes and sits on the bench or goes over there to talk to the coach, you go over there with him while he's talking to the coach, right? You're stuck to him. On a zone, you play an area. So if a person is in your area and they don't have the basketball, they're there, you're aware of them, but you're focused on where the ball is. So in a very basic sense, zone 2-3 zone, for example, or 3-2 zone, or whichever zone you're playing, you're focused more on the ball than playing that man. When that man's in your area with the ball, now you're in a sense playing man-to-man defense. Now, which is easier? Depends on who you ask. I probably would say man-to-man is maybe easier because it's more of a defined, role where you're going. But in zone, you have to rely that your other players are doing their job and playing their area. So they're not, on the other side of the court when they shouldn't be. Well, within this defensive concept, I had to kind of break a few things down to the kid. And, the eyes, the look that he was giving me as I was explaining it, was like, it was overwhelming. So I tried to make it simple. What I explained to him, and, I went over all the areas, 2-3 zone. If you're on the top, this is your area. This is what you do. This is how you move. And if you're on the bottom, this is what you do. This is how you move. When I went into man to man, I started with, deny, basic deny. Now, what is a deny when you're in deny on defense? Basically, if you're one pass away, now again, this is just a basic concept because it gets more complicated as you get older. But in a basic sense, if somebody's at the top and at the top of the key with the ball and the person you're guarding is on the wing, that person, if you're guarding them and there's nobody in between the person you're guarding and the person at the top with the ball, you can deny the pass, meaning you put your hand in front, you kind of get up on him to keep him from making an easy pass, right? If the pass goes to the opposite side, you're no longer one pass away. So now you have to move into help. So I explained to him, you have to move down, maybe put 1 foot in the paint. It's going to vary with how the coaches want you to, but on a basic sense, this is kind of, the ideal of it. Once you do that, if that person on the other wing beats that defender and drives, you have to help to keep that person from getting a layup. So once you move and get into in the defensive stands and slide over to cut that person off, that person passes the ball out to his teammate that you're guarding. Now you have to recover and run out and close out. Okay. Now, what I like to try to do is simplify things with kids and give them a plan. And here's how I do that. And again, this is just in the basic sense, but I will tell you this. Every time I've run this to help kids, it has worked wonders for that kid. Okay. So when they close out, what I tell them is you have to close out with a plan, meaning you can't close out running up and not know what you're going to do. Because as I teach kids, you can only take away one thing at a time. On a very high level score, you can't defend the jump shot and the layup or the drive at the same time. You're going to give up one or the other. You're going to either defend the shot or you're going to defend the drive and give up the shot. So you pick one. So if you pick one and you say, okay, I'm running out here and I'm going to defend the drive, you close out on them to contest, but you're ready for that person to drive, which means you're going to concede that he's going to shoot. Whether you know if he can or not is another thing, right? Or you can contest the shot, get out there and force that person to drive because you have help. So, that's one of the things. Now, second principle that I talk to kids about is most coaches have a philosophy, a defensive philosophy. And I'm only going to share two basic defensive philosophies, okay? One is you funnel everything to the middle. So, for instance, if I'm on the top of on the left side, let me do it like this because if I need to visually explain it to you. So if I'm on defense, my back is to the basketball goal, right? So if I'm on defense, then the left side of the court, the wing, would actually be the offensive player's right side. Okay. So if I'm on the top left wing defending and the coach wants to funnel everything to the middle, now I'm going to force that ball handler, that person I'm guarding, to drive to the basket going to his left, which would be to my right. So he's going to dribble down to the middle somewhere in the paint where I'm going to have help. That's one basic philosophy. The other philosophy is I'm not going to let him come to the middle. I'm going to drive him to the sideline or to the baseline. So in that same concept, when I close out, I'm not going to close out as hard with my left. I'm probably going to close out more with my right to keep him from driving towards to the middle and force him to drive towards the sideline or the baseline. Okay. So when you put those two things together, understanding one, that you have a plan to either take away the shot or take away the drive. And also with that, whichever one you do, you're going to know which way you're going to but you're going to force this person to go. Now you have a plan. And in my experience, opinion, whatever you want to call it, when you have a plan defensively, it works better than when you're just playing defense. Playing defense, you're just there, but you don't know what you're doing and why. So you have to have a purpose, which is what I try to instill with kids when they're learning defense. Now, one of my kids was asking about the second layer of defensive rotation. That gets a lot more trickier because you're looking at how that particular coach wants to rotate. The only example I gave this kid was if they're in a 5-out, if they're in a 5-out offensively, meaning that means you have 5 offensive players outside of the 3-point line. One is at the top, you have 1 on each wing, and then you have 1 in each corner, right? So it's like a shell, as they say. So if you're playing defense on the top, the defender's on the top left, and let's say he gets beat backdoor, the pass goes to his person, then the person on the back left corner playing defense should help, right? He's helping you. Now, if he helps you and the pass goes to your man, he kicks it to the corner, you should immediately know that you're going straight to the corner to contest or stop that person from getting an open shot, right? Help the helper is what they call it. So then you have to rely on everybody else's defensive rotation. It can get very complicated because there's so many different variables when you're playing offense, ball swinging, ball movement and stuff. So you have to have a basic plan and a basic understanding of how you're supposed to help everybody and how you're supposed to help, as opposed to I don't want to say how you're supposed to help, but what your job is, I guess, is a better way to put it. You know your job. As long as you do your job in the film, it should show. If you're reviewing film, coaches, you as well as players could say, yeah, you know what, that was on him. He's got to be there. So breaking down film of your game is extremely important. That's something that we'll probably look at covering because I have been asked that question. But in a nutshell, defensive concepts, that's kind of how we try to help kids. There are other various ways, but I'm just covering those two because those were things that were brought up to my attention. Now, second thing in our ideology, we're often asked, what's more important, development or games? Okay. Well, that question is an age-old question. It sounds weird to say, but ever since I've started this program, it's always been a topic of concern mainly with coaches. Parents, they want what's best for their kids. But there are coaches, City League, as well as high school and AAU, that don't want their kids being developed. Now, there is a large segment of coaches that understand what true basketball development is. Now, you know how I know this? Because I have high school coaches who send me kids. I have high school coaches that show up, to our training on a regular basis just to stop in, say hi, stop in and see what we're doing. Sometimes they want to pick my brain. Sometimes, I want to pick their brain. It's a relationship that you should have. Now, here's the weird thing. On the college and on the professional level, there are development coaches that develop their players. Now, obviously they have it on their teams, but then there are some players who have their own development coaches that work outside of, the year or whatever it is with them. They know and understand the value of it. but for some reason on the lower levels, some coaches feel threatened by it. And I'm telling you this simply because it's been an experience throughout the history of our program. So coaches feel, not all coaches. I don't want y'all to, I'm saying in general. And here's kind of how I need to put this. If you know I'm not talking about you, if you're not that person, don't get in your feelings about it. Don't get, upset saying, oh, well, you said this. Man, I'm not talking about you. Now, because if I have to start naming coaches and teams, then I could do that, but I'd rather not go that route. But with some coaches, they want to have control. They want to feel like they're the reason that these kids got better. And I get all of that. But in reality, you're not. I know I'm not in reality the sole reason a kid gets better. I just know I'm part of it. Now, if you want to do the slice of the pie, as far as who had more percentage, percentage wise, were you more instrumental in this kid's development? Well, that's really for that kid to determine, because the kid goes through it, right? The kid's going to let you know, hey, you know what? You helped me more than anything. Or, hey, you guys were both instrumental. That kind of stuff is, up to them to decide. It's not up to me. It's not up to a coach. But here's what I'll tell you, because what I tell my kids when we train them is you have to have both. Playing games without any development, in 2 or 3 years, you're probably going to be the same kid that you were 3 years ago. Maybe you do something a little bit different, but the mistakes that you make, you probably don't learn from them. And whatever skill development you have, it probably hadn't gotten too much better. Some will work, some will look, but the majority don't. As far as development, you can't just develop. I can't just train a kid for 3 to 6 months without that kid playing, because they have to understand the speed of the game. They have to get experience from making mistakes. So as a practice, I really, really try as best I can to not train kids for more than 2, maybe 3 months if they're not on the team. It's really, hey, we'll train them, but we need you to get on the team, because when the kid makes mistakes, we can help fix those mistakes. We can show you, whatever it is they're lacking as they do it, because kids can look extraordinary in a training session. I can make a kid look like a top 100 player in the nation. But then if they get in the game and they don't know what the hell to do, that's not something that you can teach in one training. You have to go over a series of workouts or trainings to, help them understand the basic stuff. It's not all about flash. You see a lot of videos and everybody's posting videos of all of these extraordinary moves, but you don't see any follow-ups of those kids doing those extraordinary moves in games, because some of these kids don't know how to do it. I give you an example. I had this kid once. This was a long, long time ago, like before I got my first place. And the father says, oh, yeah, well, no, he's advanced. He watches all these YouTube videos, and, he's working on his ball handling. He's doing all of this. And in my head, because, back then I hadn't thought about it the way I think about it now. And I said, okay, all right, no problem. So I'm doing drill work with him, and when I did the first part, ball handling and stuff, he's keeping up with what I'm doing. He's giving me a look like, man, you know what? This shit is easy. You don't know, you're not as good as what I'm thinking. I'm not saying he was saying it, but that's kind of my competitiveness is what my brain was telling me as he's looking at me when he's doing the drill work. So then I gave him I said, okay, we're going to do a simple triple threat. I'm going to throw it to you. You're going to catch it, jab, 2 dribble right. We're going to go between the legs, and then 1 more dribble, and you're going to finish on the other side with a left-hand layup. Pretty simple, right? He couldn't do it. He struggled. Now my eyes are wide because I'm thinking, wait a minute, how the fuck can you not do this after all of this, 3, 4, 5, 6 ball dribble combination, that you're doing all of this fancy stuff, and you're looking at me and you can't do a simple jab, one dribble between the legs, left hand layup. I said, well, maybe that's just an accident. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was reading it wrong. Maybe he got a little nervous on that. He did it a couple of more times and it didn't get better. So then I said, okay, let me give him another thing. So I had him run up, catch the ball. He did a reverse pivot jab, one dribble, and then I had him to go between the legs behind the back, which is a double move. And now he's got to finish on the right. Well, he couldn't do that either. So now I'm confused because I'm like, I thought you were, advanced. Dad has this look on his face. Then I was like, so where are you playing? What are you doing? He's like, oh, well, he's not playing. He's just home working. I was like, oh. I said, okay. I said, so here's the problem. I said, you can do all of those stationary, walking up the court, high level ball handling type drills. But until you put that in a game at game speed, you're going to struggle. Because if you're working on stuff on regular speed, the game speed is faster. So you have to be, you have to work on the timing, and the speed of the ball when you're dribbling, when you make that move, how you execute it, right? So development is key, but gameplay is key. They're basically, they basically coexist and work with each other. So when you hear people tell you, nah, that training shit don't work, they lying. They have an agenda, right? Because I've been doing this for so long and just seeing the benefits of seeing kids that have gotten better coming to us and how appreciative they are, with coming to us. I know it works. I know we impact a lot of kids. Now, does every kid get 100% better? No. And that's usually because those kids are lazy. Or let me scratch that because I don't want to make it sound mean. There are some kids that don't put in the work that they need to improve. So if they're not putting in the work they need to improve, there'll be little to no improvement. Okay. The ones that put the work in and they play, with the team, those are the kids that really start to get it and get better. All kids aren't going to be superstars. That's one thing that has to be understood. Not everybody's going to be the greatest player on their team or in the history of sports. There are going to be a lot of kids that are going to be, hey, all I do is rebound and set screens. All I do is hustle on defense. I'm just going to be a role player. So the game will help you understand that, but you have to have both as you're going. You have to have a good team or a team that allows you to make mistakes and, a good training or development coach. Now, I do need to say this. Individual training is different than group training. I'll say it, and I'll say it because I know it. And if let's say you have 4 kids and they're all quote unquote pretty advanced, they still learn differently. Some of them are going to struggle in different ways than others. So if you're doing drill work with 4 kids and 3 of them are getting it in a certain way, maybe they're not doing it perfect, but they're getting the understanding and one isn't, you have to kind of keep going because you have to keep everything kind of not vanilla, but in the middle for everybody. You really can't stop and keep focusing on that one kid because now those other 2 or 3, or those other 3, start to feel a little bored. Like, man, I want to keep going. But when it's individual and you realize that kid's weakness on that, you can focus on that with that one kid. So yeah, there is a time and a place for group, team training. We do it all, but the data has shown and has proven that an individual one-on-one training with somebody who knows what they're doing and how they can help you fix something is proven to work. Now, if you got somebody that's all flashy, they show you all these complicated, looking drills, but they can't show you how to execute stuff and show you, simple terms, you might need to rethink that choice. But over here, over at Street Career Sports Training, that's not any kind of issue we have with trying to help a kid get better as far as whatever it is they're needing. And it's not just about dribbling or shooting. It's about everything. Next Style Designs. Next Style Designs makes quality shirts or custom apparel for all occasions. Next Style Designs. Mind Inc. Mind Inc. offers a wide array of digital media. Mind Inc. asks, are you using your mind? Southwest Basketball Showcase Recruiting Service. The link between your coach and your dreams. Maracay Zero Down Solar. Call Greg Suber for your solar needs. PCS Plus is the carpet service for all your cleaning needs. Okay, now I'm going to go into a story. It's not really a story. Here's what I'll say. I don't know when it was. I know when it was. It was around June, July. I said, hey, here's my top 5. Now I put my all top 5 players. Now, here's what I was going with it. I was looking at the 5 players who were I guess I could say trendsetters, but players who were really good in an era and they had done something that I had never seen before. Okay. So those 5 players, obviously, Steph has, there were other guys that you could say prior to, but there was no Steph before Steph, right? There was no LeBron before LeBron. LeBron, to me, is like a hybrid of Jordan and Magic, right? If you just kind of think about it, right? Okay. Then there was Shaq. You could say Wilt. Wilt was a lot more athletic, but just strength, brute force. There's not much you can do. How are you going to guard against that with Shaq? Jordan. There was no Jordan before Jordan. Now, I understand Kobe, and the reason I don't have Kobe is because Kobe came after Jordan. If Kobe was before Jordan, it would be Kobe, because I hadn't seen a player like Kobe before. Kobe has always stated that he modeled his game after Jordan. And you saw it in his mannerisms and how he played and how he interacted with them. So Jordan would be that. And then Magic. To me, Magic was just special with how he played. I modeled my game early on after Magic. I even got a jersey somewhere that calls me Baby Magic, right? So this was, my top 5. And I put it in a post on Facebook, right? And I just simply said, hey, this is my top 5. It don't have to be your top 5. It's just my top 5. I'd be damned. The damn comments. Oh, you can't have Kareem in your top 5. Oh, well, if Bill Russell ain't in your top 5, it ain't a top 5. And I was like, yo, it's my fucking top 5. Make your own damn top 5. Don't get on my shit and start talking about my top 5. Create your own top 5. I swear people kept commenting. And I was like, yo, are y'all even reading the damn post? Did y'all read the fucking post? So then I had to comment with a couple of guys and say, yo, did you read the post, man? Don't come over here with that bullshit if you didn't read the post. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But in any way, This is who you should. I said, nah, I shouldn't have to have shit. It's mine. You want yours? Put your top 5 on there. And then they did it. So it was a weird dynamic to where people in that sense felt like you had to have what they wanted. Like if they didn't agree with what you had, they didn't want to hear it. And I'm like, man, we can agree to disagree. That's fine. You can argue. My top 5 might not be your top 5. Now, it was a different type of top 5, and it wasn't in any particular order. And this is why I've brought up the task of creating the criteria, because I have different ways that we can come to an agreement on who is going to be top 5. Shout out to the coach who sent me information on his 3 criteria. As I get more, I'm going to put the list. We'll kind of go through it, and we'll create a top 5 list from that. So comment on the sections on this video and let us know what your criteria. I would say no more than 5. 3 would be good. 3 criteria for who you would say would be, a top 5, a top player. That's how it resonates with you. So whichever way you want to go, then, that's fine. Now, last thing I want to say is I want to talk just quickly about about parents. There are things that parents said when you grow up that kind of stick in your head. And at the time when you hear it, you kind of feel like, oh, what the hell does that mean? Right? So my dad used to say something when I was little. He used to always tell me, he wouldn't always tell me, but I would hear him say this. I'm telling you, right? You're looking at it wrong. That confused the fuck out of me for a while. And then I started to understand what it meant, right? So it was like, okay, I get it. Then I heard my mom say once, as long as I owe you, you will never be broke. Right. So that was funny, because it's like, well, yeah, but if you owe me, why don't you just go ahead and pay me the money that you owe me? Right. So then I won't be broke. But I didn't understand the dynamic of it. It was just sayings. Right. So it was really funny to hear those type of things. And now, guess what? I use that shit. I'll tell somebody, yo, I'm telling you right, but you're looking at it wrong. And then I'll be like, oh, fuck, I just said something that my dad used to say when I was little, right? Hey, well, as long as I owe you, you'll never be broke. so that's it's weird, but I can guarantee you, those of you who are listening have had a similar saying that, or something that you've heard from somebody, your mom, dad, maybe your grandma, maybe your aunt, or somebody, cousin, that wild cousin that say something that you were like, man, I don't even know what that means. But then later on, you find yourself using it. Okay. So yeah, that's things. And I'll try to bring up some more. That's just 2 off the top of my head. But feel free to use them, and you might get a weird look. Like I gave my parents the first time they heard it, because I was trying to process it. It didn't make sense to me at that time. So look, make sure you drop your comments about things that your parents said growing up that you felt was funny and confusing. Also drop your comments about the top 5. I'm probably going to wait maybe, 2 more episodes, and then I'm going to take what I have from everybody, and then we'll go ahead and formulate it. I'll announce it on the podcast. These are the criteria, because the thing when you people are announcing their top 5 or all time, they just say it. They just say, oh, this player is the best player. And it's usually because that's their favorite player, but they don't know how to justify it. So with this shit going to be justified. If we say, hey, you got to have 10, you got it, not 10, damn. If we say you got to have 2 championship rings, well, if we agree on that, hell, anybody without a championship ring, they can't be on that list, right? So that's how it makes it easier, because you define it. So that's what we're going to do. So maybe at some point I'll post some of the information I have, but I just rather give it a few more weeks and let people comment. So look, I really appreciate y'all spending this time with me. I think my flow is starting to come back a little bit better. All things considered, I was not nervous last week. It just felt weird because I hadn't done it in so long. But I just felt like, well, as I go by, it's going to start to come back to me. One thing I will do is I will bring up in some of the topics, some of the stuff from my old podcast, right? Some of the basketball stuff, simply because some people didn't hear it. And then, some of those topics are really, really, they stay relevant. Some are more relevant than others. So I always want to make sure I'm touching on those things. Now, with my age, there might be times where I might mention something you're like, damn, dog, you said that like 2 weeks ago. You don't remember? I might be like, no, that's why I fucking brought it up right now, because I didn't remember. But I'll try not to be repeat myself. I'll try to make a list of shit and then be looking. So if I bring it up, I can say, oh no, I said that, back in October. So look, I appreciate y'all time. This is another episode. I'm happy, really happy to be back. There are a lot of things that are going to be in store as we continue to get better on this cast. I am working to get guest lists so I can have guests on. I'm not going to try to be having this guy who has all these, well-known people. I might have some dude that I knew from back at home in the day that used to always be on the liquor store corner. You know what I'm saying? He might be still getting around. I had a guy back at home who every time you saw him, he was going to ask you for something. Hey man, let me have $5. Man, I don't got $5. Oh, well, shit, give me a cigarette. Let me have a cigarette. Man, I don't smoke. Why you ask me for a cigarette? Well, give me a match. What? How the fuck I'm gonna have a match if I don't smoke? What? Give me some lint out your pocket. Give me some, damn. Right? So it was just like, I have those guys, and those people were important to me because, they're part of me. Right. So I might have some of my friends, people that you ain't ever heard of, but just people I talk, and we might start arguing on here, and you might be thinking, damn, they sound like they about to fight. Yeah. Well, nah, that's not going to happen, but we might argue and cuss each other out and talk shit. At the end, dog, I love you, but you full of shit. I love your ass to death, dog, but you stupid, you dumb. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. So I can't wait to add that element to this and continue to grow, because, I feel like I'm on track for something special with this. So continue to tune in, and hey, if there's something you want me to address, if there's a question you have as far as training or something like that, drop it in the comments. If you're not feeling this, you can drop it in the comment. I'm not going to be, like hurt. But then I don't expect to hear your ass again, because if you're not feeling it, you shouldn't be listening to the podcast after the day. But I get it. It's not for everybody. Some people like some things, some people don't. And that's what makes this world great. So continue to have a great day. Take care of each other. Try to love each other. And as always, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I'm out.